Today's video looks a bit different and I will show you in a moment why I think this is great. You see, I record this video today directly into OBS on my computer using a small streaming setup. This whole YouTube streamer setup cost me around 500 euros and I think this looks very cinematic. You also get actual depth of field and not that sickness inducing one that you see on Microsoft Teams or Zoom. In my opinion, this is a high quality setup and you don't need to be a video nerd to make your setup look as good as this one. I will go through the shopping list and how to set up this whole thing to make your videos look as cinematic as this one. The heart of the whole setup, of course, is the camera. I use the super affordable Panasonic GX80 and with it the also very affordable but great quality Pergear 25mm f1.8. The big sensor on the Panasonic and the fast aperture of this lens gives me a very small depth of field or very nice blurry backgrounds without having to produce them artificially. So they look very high quality. I got the camera very cheap for 160 euros, but you can also get it used for between 200 and 300 euros. But you can also get it as cheap as I did if you are lucky. The lens is also very cheap for only 60 euros. With a generic dummy battery adapter, I can simply power the camera the whole day using USB power. So I just run the USB power into the camera and it will run all day. Next thing you need is a HDMI to USB converter. I use a Micro-HDMI to HDMI cable and run it into a video grabber. The video grabber is very important since it converts your video signal into a usable USB connected camera onto your PC, so you can use it as a webcam. My video grabber that I use isn't even available anymore. It cost me 90 euros when I bought it, but you can get new video grabbers for around 30 to 40 bucks, so they are very affordable. I'd like to set my white balance and exposure, of course, manually, but if you are a beginner, you can rely on the automatic modes on your camera. The camera sits comfortably on a microphone stand and a cheapo ball head that I put onto the stand, so I can put the camera anywhere on my desk, and I don't really like the clamp ones since those need the edge of the desk and I can simply move it around and put it wherever I want. Both of these items together cost around 30 euros, so they are very cheap. The audio comes separately via a lavalier mic. This is a clip-on mic from Walimex and costs around 20 euros. But I also need a TRRS to TRRS cable adapter to use it on my PC or laptop, which costs an additional 10 euros. I'm going with a lavalier mic with this setup because it's a very cheap option, and the most important thing about microphones is that they are close to your mouth. And lavalier mics are very close to your mouth, and if you use the standard microphones that everybody uses, you have a giant pop filter right in front of your face, which blocks your beautiful smile that your viewers want to see. You can still get the big USB microphones, of course, if you want to. They are great quality, but I would use a lavalier mic for starters, and they are good quality and they cost not that much. Make sure that you run the cable inside your clothes and clip the microphone capsule outside of your clothes to get the best quality and avoid strange noises. For the lighting mood, I firstly covered the window to get a dark room and used two Yongnuo YN300 lights. I already did a review on them. They are exceptionally good for their price and very high quality, high light output and controllable. I really like them. I use one with a clamp-on stand and a very cheap stand. One light setup costs around 70 euros, so they are also very affordable. They run on NPF batteries, which run for the whole day and are also very cheap. I think light is a good investment since you can use this light for years and years to come, even when the camera technology changes. I like to use a softener in front of the light to get rid of the skin irritations, so you can look as beautiful on camera as you are on the inside. That's for the first part. Next part is that we hop onto our computer and into OBS. After you have installed OBS and hooked up your camera, your power and your microphone onto your computer, you set up a new scene, add a video capture device and an audio input. On the video device, I select my camera, of course, over the video grabber, and for the audio input, I use the input from the Lavalier mic. Make sure that the audio and video line up by recording a little bit and watch it afterwards. If the audio and the video is a little bit off, simply go into the advanced properties of your audio input and align them accordingly. In my case, I had to set off the input by 150 milliseconds to match them perfectly. But this can change from setup to setup, so you might have to type in a different number. And boom, that's it. You have a cinematic and cheap setup to tell the world what you think. I know there are some drawbacks. Some of you might want to have a big microphone in front of their head and also want to use autofocus, but that depends on the type of content you are doing. For example, if you are a video game streamer or just doing talking headshots, you might be better off using a manual lens, since you just simply have to set your focus once and you're good to go. You don't need autofocus for things you hold into the cameras, things like that. And if you want to advance further, you can simply change your camera and lens setup if you want to. But this is just a cheap setup that gets you started and make you look very good. And that's important. I hope you like this setup. I got asked to do a setup like this for a long time by people I know, and now I've come around to do that. Please let me know in the comments down below what you think, if this looks and sounds good to you, especially in comparison to the setup that I had before in my usual review videos. If you have any questions about this setup or a different camera that you're interested in, please pop your question in the comments down below. I will gladly help to answer them. And if you found this video useful, please consider liking and subscribing to this channel. And I hope you have a nice day and create something extraordinary.